Hello and welcome back to RageGamingVideos and of course Sunbreak Update 4. Today I'm doing my first skill overview video for the update and we'll be talking about Dragon Conversion, the new skill that is a part of course the risen Valstrax set, which has some funky aspects to it that you absolutely need to consider if you're using an element build, especially a dragon element build. What is Dragon Conversion then? Well, by the tooltip we can get an inaccurate explanation of what it is. As per usual, it doesn't tell us exactly how it works, but at least gives us an idea. So we basically have a scroll swap skill. When we are in blue scroll, we raise our element resistance. Then when swapping to the red scroll, our element resistance goes to 0, but then all of our resistance gets converted into element attack. So in concept, the higher your elemental resistance, the more elemental attack you get when you swap scroll. At level 1 we get the effect and some element resistance is +3. At 2 we get +5 element resistance, and then we actually build up further resistance by attacking while in blue scroll. Now it says continuously attacking, and that is not exactly true. There are skills that require continuous attacks, but this isn't one of them, despite the tooltip literally saying that it is. This is one of those ones that requires a specific amount of hits. So as you can see, as I rack up hit and hit and hit, eventually I am going to reach the proc of that blue scroll, and it will be shown by an audio effect, which we just heard, a sort of shing, and then at the top there next to my name or above my health bar, you can actually see the shield with the 4 element colors and the plus up arrow. That shows that I've now activated the effect. It is entirely decided by the amount of hits that you land, and depending on what weapon you're using, you're going to need a different amount of hits. So with dual blades here, or maybe something like S&S, you'll need at least 30 hits, and then eventually it will proc. But say using a slower weapon like a hammer or a greatsword, you'll need a lot less hits, but it should equal about the same amount of time of attacking for the proc to occur. Finally, level 3 of Dragon Conversion, then we get some bonuses to the red scroll aspect. Just basically the conversion rate, the element attack will increase further or better. So having level 3 compared to 1 or 2, you're going to get much more out of the swap. So it seems to me level 3 is kind of the thing you need for this skill. To get level 3, you will need 3 pieces of the set. You will need the helmet, you will need the chest, and you will need the waist. Fortunately, they do have good decoration slots on them, a 4 and a 4 on the chest piece, particularly amazing. And they come with other skills, of course, that are good, like latent power, attack boost, dragon resistance, which is very important to what we're doing here, and hey, some stamina surge, which can be great for, say, dual blades here. You can check how this works by going to your status page and page 2, and you can see your attack stats and your defense stats there. We can see that I start with 3 pieces of the set with 36 dragon resistance and then much smaller numbers for the rest. The moment that I swap to red scroll, that's all going to be converted into element attack. So because I had some there, I'm actually going to get some element attack, although not much because I hadn't built up that much. Either way, while I'm in red scroll, you can see that I am now 0 on all my resistances. But in exchange, my fire element attack has gone up. Beforehand, we were at 92, and then as soon as I swapped to red scroll, thanks to the few bit of resistances there, we're up to 105 now. How strong is this element buff then? How does it actually work? Well, it turns out if we take a look at those defenses, per total sum of our element resistances, every 20 will equal 5 element attack. So in the case of the current defense stats that I have right now, we have exactly 50. So from that, I should get over 10 element attack. So we're at 92, we swap over, now we're at 105. So I actually got 13 specifically. Let's now have a look at what happens when I max this out and then make myself actually have the maximum defense buff that I can get with this current kind of random set of just the 3 pieces to get the 3 skills. So now we've got the buff, we should have now much raised defense. We can take a look at the stats page, and there you go, we have way more. Dragon resistance is capped at 50, the resistance cap seems to be 50, while the rest have shot up considerably from their very low numbers. So my total of all those element resistances right here is 124, and that's what I'm going to convert into the red scroll and get more element attack. I should note now, while we're thinking about it, there's no need to worry about going into negative element resistances. If you have a set that has, like, say, -4 fire or something, it will consider that 0, even though it's -4. So say -4 fire, -10 water, and a total of 30 other resistances, it will think you have 30 in the conversion. The minuses are not taken into account. So if we take a look at our current resistances, which is 124 right now, the sum of this would be then divided by 20, 20, and then that number can be multiplied by 5. In my case, again, 124, so divide that by 20, that's going to be 6.2. We multiply that by 5, and that equals 31. So I should be getting 31 extra element attack with this random setup that I have, so let's test if that's true. 92, and then we're going to swap to red and have a look. We're up to 123. So yeah, 31 exactly. So ideally, when playing with the skill, your ideal way to play is to attack as fast as you can, building up the resistances as fast as you can, and eventually after landing enough blows, basically multiple combos, whatever weapon you're using, we will get that buff like just now, and then we will look for an opportunity, say when the monster's staggered, in a trap, knocked down, or otherwise, to swap to red scroll and then go ham. Or if you're playing optimally, you can just go red scroll right away and just avoid all damage while dealing as much DPS as you can, making the most out of this. But with in mind, you have 0 element resistance, so you could be taking more damage during that. But the thing is, this patch has introduced, or reintroduced, a very important skill that will really make a major change if you are using specifically dragon element compared to fire, water, thunder, or ice. This is because it synergizes so well with the skill Dragonheart, as well as things like Valstrax Soul. Dragonheart has become a decoration, so that allows us to get these Dragonheart levels a lot easier in these sets. As you can see, as part of the skill Dragonheart, it will raise our element resistances to 50 immediately, which is way more than we could ever build up with, say, all those attacks with, say, the blue scroll. That would be a total of 250 resistance. Divide that by 20, that brings us to 12.5. This then multiplied by 5 gives us 62.5, meaning Dragon Conversion level 3 plus Dragonheart level 2 here or above, while triggered, will double the element attack we receive compared to without Dragonheart. Plus, of course, Dragonheart has other effects, like giving me 10% extra attack power at level 5. That's pretty major. There is the downside, though, of us contracting Dragon Blight, which means the only element we can deal damage with in that scenario is Dragon Element. So you must be doing a Dragon Element build when using Dragon Conversion and Dragonheart based on that. However, it's very good and you should be considering exactly that. The thing is, with our augmenting in the current patch and Skills Plus, there is a chance that you can use exactly this feature to get Dragonheart as a curios crafting skill. That could be potentially awesome to try to use decorations and curious crafting to get level 5 of Dragonheart for your Dragon Element build. There is a major downside though to Dragonheart. Say at level 1, you need to be half health or less to actually have this take effect, but at level 5, you need to be 80% health or less. Much more doable, but still a bit awkward, especially in, say, afflicted hunts where you get that passive healing sort of accidentally. But if we were to combine this with, say, the skill Dereliction that's draining your health, that would be perfect synergy we'll talk about in a second. But to just keep it really simple for those who might be confused, here is how it works again. You have blue scroll active, and while you're in blue scroll, you attack. After landing a certain amount of attacks in a reasonable amount of time, you will get the buff. This buff, as shown by the sound we just heard, or just above your health bar, will then raise your resistances, which you can check on status page 2. Then by converting those by going to red scroll, your element attack will jump up based on how much resistances you actually had, averaging around 30 if you are not running, say, Dragonheart. If you are running Dragonheart and have that effect actually active, it will give you double, something like 60 plus element attack. But you're going to need to be in Dragon Element for that to really take effect. As I mentioned earlier though, there's also the Rampage decoration to consider, the Valstrax Soul, which increases Dragon Element attack by 20% on top of everything we just talked about while afflicted with Dragon Blight, meaning if you do have Dragonheart, you're gonna have Dragon Blight, and therefore you have 20% extra Dragon Element attack. That's insane. It's also only a 2 slot. Very nice. As I mentioned, people are even considering working in this new skill with Dragonheart using Dereliction and even Strife. Dereliction gives you element while you're in your red scroll, as you can see, and because we're playing with DPSing in red scroll, that's perfect synergy. As it's draining our health, it will put us below 80%, which will trigger, yes, the Dragonheart. We can even get all 3 levels of Dereliction specifically on your gloves and your boots of the Gaia set, which, if you forgot, are the 2 pieces we do not need to get ourselves 3 levels of Dragon Conversion. So that's perfect synergy and clearly intended by the devs. The potential there is a very powerful playstyle indeed if you're willing to put up with all that swapping and the constant health drain. Reddit user NA5TY, or Nasty as I imagine it's pronounced, tried this with Chargeblade, which has its element vials so boosted by everything we just talked about that it's somehow better to whiff the wake up hit and hit with a vial specifically. And that damage, as you can see, is silly. It added up to just shy 6,000 in one combo hit. For Chargeblade, that's really good. So there's obviously a lot of potential here with things like Dragonheart, Dragon Conversion, Dereliction, and even Strife all synergizing really well together. But it will create a really annoying, draining playstyle that I'm sure is not going to be for everyone. But we're going to be talking about all of this very soon in my Dual Blades build video. For now though, that is my overview of Dragon Conversion and everything around it that should be useful to know. I hope that was understandable. Maybe the math was useful, maybe the examples were helpful, but if that helped you understand, then that's the point of the video. If you have anything you could add on to what we talked about today, maybe not discussed in the video, you can drop that in the comments. But for now, I guess I've been Hollow, you've been you, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.